Hello, welcome to Big W BBQ. I'm Nate. Here today we're going to be smoking up some tender and delicious beef ribs. Welcome back to another year of barbecuing. Thanks a lot for joining me. If you're new around here, on this channel you will find recipes as well as tips and tricks that will hopefully help your time out at the barbecue go a little bit smoother. If you want to stay up for the most recent content, please consider subscribing to the channel or liking us on the below social media platform. I do want to call out Facebook specifically because I'm trying something new there. What I'm doing there is I am condensing these videos down to a 1 or 2 minute video with just the highlighted bullet points. Where this is going to be handy is for any of you that are short on time and all you care about is just getting the steps on getting to the finished product. So if that sounds like something that you would enjoy, go check out our Facebook page. So now let's go ahead and get right into this video. Like I mentioned a little bit ago, we're going to be smoking up some beef ribs today. Here I've got a little over 3 pounds of your short loin ribs. If you're a fan of pork ribs and you never tried beef ribs, I would definitely recommend it, especially if you like steak. What we got with the beef ribs here is there's just a lot of meat and it's very tender, juicy, full of flavor. And so if you haven't never tried it, definitely give it a shot. So today I'm going to be keeping this pretty simple. What we're going to be doing is I'm going to be using Worcestershire sauce to using as the binding agent, and then I'm going to be using salt and pepper as my rub. You can use any rub that you prefer. If you got a favorite one, go ahead and use that. But as you probably picked up from my other videos, I like to use salt and pepper when I'm working with beef. For some reason, I like that flavor that it brings out, and so that's what I'm going to be doing here today. A couple things that we need to do here in preparation is depending on the piece of meat that you get, there could be quite a bit of fat on top. Ideally, what you're looking for, if you have the option to pick out your ribs there, I would recommend getting something with a lot of marbling, but not necessarily so much fat like you see here on this one. Unfortunately, I didn't have the option to see which one my local grocery store was picking out for me. So ideally, I wouldn't like to see as much fat on here, but that's not a problem. I'm just gonna go ahead and trim up a little bit of it. And the reason why we're going to trim up some of this is some of this fat is going to render down throughout the cook, but if you get too much, it's not going to, there's just won't be enough time to render it all down, and so then you can get kind of gristly and chewy on the finished product, which we don't want to have. All right, that should be pretty good. Now, so I got some of the fat trimmed off the top. Now, something you may be wondering, you may have seen with the pork ribs, is where people remove the silver skin or the kind of the thin membrane on the underside of the ribs. Now there is technically a membrane here on the beef ribs as well. However, this is doing a little bit more of holding the ribs to the meat. So I would not recommend taking that off. You can try if you want. I just wouldn't go too crazy on that removal there. So just something to think about. So we got that all trimmed up there. So now I'm going to go ahead and put some salt and pepper on here. And like I mentioned, I'm going to be using some Worcestershire sauce as my binding agent. This gives it a good flavor. You don't taste it too much in the finished product. However, it does it enhances the flavor a little bit, as well as it gives the salt and pepper something to stick to. So then from there, what I've got here is I've got about a 1/4 cup of kosher salt as well as coarse ground black pepper. And it's gonna be about half and half. I just want to go ahead and liberally coat that. You wanna make sure you get plenty on there. This is gonna be cooking for a while, so we do wanna get some good amount of salt and pepper on there. Make sure you get the sides as well. We're not going to worry too much about the underside there. There isn't any meat down there, so there's really not much sense in putting any seasonings down there. All right, that looks pretty good. So now let's talk a little bit about how we're going to be cooking this. I'm going to be cooking this out on the Weber Smoky Mountain. I'm going to be using a couple chunks of apple wood and then a couple chunks of hickory. Now so you can go ahead and use whichever kind of wood you like. Since we got beef here, it's got a little bit more tolerance to the smoke. So if you want to use a little more of a wood or a little more of a an oak or hickory, that'll work perfectly fine. So then how we're going to be cooking this, I'm going to have a pit temperature of around 275 degrees. And I imagine that this is probably going to take 5-6 hours maybe. However, what I'm kind of going to go for, I'll show you when we get to that point, is we're going to be going for the tenderness. It's a little bit tougher to get a read on temperature-wise with a probe, but if I had to guess, it'd probably be around the 200 degree mark. So we're going to go ahead, throw this out on the grill for for a couple hours there. We're going to cook it just as is, and then I'm probably going to wrap it up in tin foil to kind of help tenderize the meat, and then we'll finish it off that way. So yeah, let's go ahead and take this out to the barbecue. All right guys, so it's been about 2.5 hours here now, and as you can see here, we've got a pretty good pullback already and good color, so I think this is going to be the time here where I want to wrap this. So go ahead and take some tin foil here. We're going to go ahead and lift up the ribs here and place that on top of the tin foil. I want to be sure and get a nice, tight, snug fit. Then we're going to go ahead and grab one more piece of tin foil. We'll go the other direction. So what you could do here, if you'd like to, you could add some beef broth inside there if you want to create a little more moisture to help with the tenderizing process. However, I'm just going to keep it simple today, and I'm just going to go ahead and wrap that up. You know, the meat will continue to lose liquid, and so the steaming process will happen naturally. But some people like to add a little more beef flavor or some liquid in there just to kind of help speed that up a little bit. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and take this out to the smoker, and I imagine probably another couple hours or so. Since we're wrapped up in tin foil, no more need for any more smoke. At this point, we're just going to try and tenderize that and kind of bring it past that finish line there. So let's go ahead and put it back out on the smoker. Hey guys, so while we're out here waiting for the ribs to finish up, I do want to make a quick shout out here to one of my good pals. He's got a vlogging channel here on YouTube that I'd recommend go checking out if you enjoy a good vlog. He's got some pretty good content out there that I think you guys may enjoy there, so definitely go check that out if you have time. All right guys, so it's been about 2.5 hours now. I think we're getting about done here, so I'm gonna go ahead and see where we're sitting. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna use this meat probe here. I'm just gonna kind of poke around in different areas. And what I'm looking for is almost as if I'm pushing through room temperature butter. There should be little to zero resistance. And that's gonna tell me whether or not these things are done. Just as an experiment here, I just wanna see where we're sitting at. Temperature wise, looks like we're sitting at about 201.5. So yeah, I think these are ready to bring inside. Back inside now, we've got the beef ribs sitting here. They're looking mighty fine. So a couple things I'm looking at here. We got a very nice bark to it. We've got a pretty good pullback here, and as you can tell how much they've kind of shriveled up. There was a lot of fat in this set of ribs here, but that's not a problem. Should be a lot of flavor. But yeah, so let's go ahead and let's cut this up. Oh yeah. Look at all that juice there. That's what I like to see. Got a beautiful smoke ring around the outside there. Yep, those are some good looking ribs right there. Yeah, so let's go ahead and let's just take a sample. A lot of moisture, a lot of flavor. They got a good bark on there, nice and crisp still. Definitely taste the pepper and salt. Pepper gives a little bit of a kick there, which is all right. And so yeah, it's turned out pretty well there. Thanks a lot for joining me here today. If you liked the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, as well as let me know in the comments on what you think of beef ribs. Do you like them more or less than pork ribs, or just a different variation, I guess? So yeah, I'd definitely like to hear from you on that. Something new I'm going to be doing this grilling season of 2017 is I'm going to be releasing new videos every other Thursday at 5 p.m. Central Time. So be sure to subscribe to the channel and stay tuned. My next video will be out, I believe it'll be March 16th. So be looking forward to that. And thanks again, guys, for hanging out with me today. Have a good one.